with our three sports-loving ladies, Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
Hey, hey.
This is Helmets and Heels
On 1010XL, switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
No, let it snow. The Cleveland Browns got some more wins, baby. Let's get it. I just got to tell you, buddy. I just got off Amazon, and I'm probably about to go and order a dove off Amazon. It's going to get here to my house by 9 o'clock tonight. That's how fast it is.
For the brand,
Oh, Jameis.
a national treasure. The Cleveland Browns once again have more wins than your Jacksonville Jaguars. Sorry to rub salt in the wound, folks. But hey, if nothing else, Florida State fans, you do get to rejoice and be glad in the renaissance of one Jameis Winston once more. Welcome into a Sunshine Turf Friday. No Lauren Brooks. She is on vacay until the month of December, which is crazy to say. Yeah. But here we are on the November of the 22nd. Mia O'Brien alongside Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. We're going to have some fun today. Folks, we are not only going to lean into our hero, Jameis Winston, a guy who, this is the perfect time for him to help lead the Cleveland Browns to their third win of the season, Taylor Dahl, because for those of you who may be interested, what do Taylor and Mia talk about when they're not on air? Trading Jameis Winston clips, trading Xavier Legette viral clips. That is the bulk of our conversation. So we are going to celebrate Jameis and the Browns here on this Sunshine Turf Feel Good Friday. We also are going to have a very special guest. A friend of the program, Cole Thompson of SEC Unfiltered, going to join us at 1. I lead with that to say that Cole may be the genesis of this new segment we're workshopping here today, Taylor. Instead of giving you 5 games to watch, instead of giving you, here's 3 games that we're interested in, this one's the dessert, this one's the appetizer, this is the entree, like our friends over at Split Zone Duo, we are going to lean in to Feast Week. For those of you unfamiliar, on ESPN from yesterday running all the way through the Thanksgiving holiday, there will be college basketball tournament games played. All the various tournaments in the Bahamas, St. Thomas, the Maui Invitational returns next week, folks. And ESPN calls that Feast Week between both the men's and the women's side. So we're going to have a little Feast Week of our own here on Helmets and Heels. We're going to give you our rundown of games to watch. What's the turkey of the weekend? What's the ham? What's the Brussels sprouts? If any of those 3 things are not your favorite, send us a thought of what should be the mashed potatoes of this weekend slate. It can be a college football game that you believe should be the apple pie of everyone's eye. It can be an NBA game that you know is secretly sneaky good, like those sweet potato casseroles. And hit us up on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures at 641-1010, or of course the MyBookie Digital Studios. Interact with us there by visiting the comment section. Leave us a comment and we will be sure to get to it throughout the duration of today's 2-hour program. But let us begin last night's Thursday night football game, Taylor Dahl. The Cleveland Browns really tried to give this one away. They really tried to give this one away. Jameis Winston said as much post-game, but here they are, finally able to get one back in the win column, and despite one of the more beautiful snow games you will ever see.
Yes, and I think that if this is one of those games that if you were to just show somebody the box score, they would guess that the Steelers won this game just because Russell Wilson, 21 for 28, 270, a touchdown. Jameis, 18 for 27, 219, no touchdowns, an interception. There was like 8 or 9 fumbles during the game. I think the Browns lost more fumbles than the Steelers ended up losing. The one thing that I think was the dominant part of this was what the Browns defense in general was able to do when it was creating pressure with Russell and with the little bit that we saw Justin Fields out there too. They were kind of having both
Taylor. I'm sorry.
quarterbacks out there. But yeah, it was a very interesting game when it came to that. But to me, I love this. I love snow games. I love defensive games. I love games when, and I know some people are like, oh, it's sloppy, it's messy when there's these fumbles. But to me, it just adds this element of like old school, true Northern football, which obviously I love. And so, yeah, but it is one of those things when you even talk about the pressure, they had the amount of pressure that Cleveland's defense as a whole, I'll say, but their defensive line especially was able to put on Russ. And for Russ to still be able to only have 7 incomplete passes was kind of crazy. They also had almost double the amount of rushing yards as Cleveland. So it was like all of these things that pointed to Steelers being able to win this game. But at the end of the day, the Browns defense and Jameis Winston were able to pull it out. And I think that you have to give them credit in this because it is a team that a lot of people, first of all, had been shouting for since probably week 2 to bench Deshaun Watson and put Jameis in. And it took them too long to do that. And now they're seeing some of the things that you can create with Jameis playing quarterback.
So for me, the defining moment of this game, and it didn't even matter in the grand scheme of things, was Myles Garrett containing Russell Wilson off the edge. Russell Wilson ended up completing that 4th down pass. And so all's fine and good there if you're a Steelers fan and that drive continued. But the sheer speed and the sheer effort of Myles Garrett on a 2-win football team in the snow on Thursday night. Yeah. That combined with, of course, the epic speeches of Jameis Winston, which you will hear throughout the duration of today's program, that says to me that as much as that is a 2-win team, that's not a team that's quit in Cleveland.
Definitely not.
And that is very hard. It's a different situation than the one that the team in this town finds themselves in, to be clear. It's a different situation than what the Chicago Bears find themselves in. But it's so fascinating to wrap your head around as we do look forward to the stretch run of the 2024 regular season, but then also the years to come in Cleveland, because they truly could look at this and say, you know what? We messed up on the quarterback.
Yeah.
We messed up on the quarterback. It
It
cost us games, but we still have the best player, the best defensive player in the National Football League on our roster and as our leader. We have, depending how you want to look at it, I don't think Jameis is the future in Cleveland.
Yeah, me either.
I do think Kevin Stefanski was able to scheme up Joe Flacco into multiple wins down the stretch last year, and that was not based off of Joe Flacco, but more so based off of what the play caller was able to do. I find it fascinating, and this includes our friend Robert Mays of The Athletic, who joined us earlier in the week. I find it fascinating that people think that the Browns could move on from Stefanski after he has won not 1, but 2 Coach of the Year awards in the last 4 years. But it is so interesting to look at last night and look at the Browns and know the situation that exists here in Duval County, Taylor.
It is funny, and we've had the conversation about the quarterbacks a lot, too. The coaches a lot, obviously, here. And we talked about a Mike Tomlin, and we've talked about how kind of the Titans were with Vrabel last year and how Saleh kind of became a scapegoat there and all of these different coaches. And 3 of the names that I've seen on Twitter of a fan base turning on, Mike Tomlin being one of them, John Harbaugh being another one, and Kyle Shanahan being another one. Those 3 coaches have been kind of turned on recently, and now you're seeing Stefanski also get thrown in that bunch. And I tweeted it the other day of like the fan bases that have these guys have no idea what it's like to not have a coach that, yes, and everyone's response was like, we're tired of being mid, like talking about the Steelers. It's been since 2011 or whatever.
Mid, they're tired of being good, and the enemy of great is good.
Well, they all said mediocre, and I was like, if you think you are a mediocre football team in the last 20 years, I have a lot of things to say to you and a lot of things to show to you, because I get it, and I know we have the conversations too, Mia, of would you rather be competitive for 10, 15, 20 years and be constantly in the talks and know you have a football team that can make the playoff, or would you rather win a Super Bowl and then be bad around the 10 years around it? And every time I've asked that question, it has been very split, because some people say championships can hide a lot of things and championships will keep you happy for a while. Coming from someone being a Cubs fan who watched a World Series for the first time in 108 years and then now it got terribly bad again. Yes, I love that World Series and I'd never give it up, but I would love competitive baseball consistently. And so if you're these teams, you at least have that.
You're competitive.
Yes, and you're at least every year, you're not going into the season being like, oh, can we not be last in the division? You're going into the season every single year saying, we'll make the playoffs. How do we make that playoffs? Who do we need to who do we need to beat to make the playoffs? And those are your conversations. And those coaches are a massive part of why they are in those conversations every year. Since Ben Roethlisberger's been gone, the Steelers have had a revolving door of quarterbacks that have been mid to bad to really bad. And right now, probably the best one they've had in a while in Russell Wilson, and it's still, he was kind of booted out of Denver because he didn't have
He's
it
still
anymore.
Russell Wilson.
Yes. And so you have to, and and let's look at Stefanski with the Browns too. I mean, he has been able to do with Joe
Baker
Flacco.
and with Joe Flacco, by the way.
And then now with Jameis Winston. And Deshaun wasn't it because I think there's just too much hovering around Deshaun. It was never going to work. But that's just the conversations that these coaches have, is not how many games can we win this year. It's what are the playoffs looking like? And it's just a different conversation around here.
So we're going to look at our contenders and pretenders in both the AFC and the NFC. I'm very curious where you file the Pittsburgh Steelers into, Taylor, because as Jameis Winston alluded to, this was a Steelers team that was down 18-6 at the beginning of the fourth quarter, and you looked up, and what did it look like, Jameis?
It really was amazing. Like, I was just praying on the sideline because that fourth quarter, it really was like it was a whole paradigm shift. Like, we were playing so well offensively, and then bang, bang, back-to-back drives with turnovers. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, this is really an NFL's filmed moment. The snow starts pouring down. It starts getting like I felt like my feet started getting heavy because I'm squishing through the snow. And man, it was so good, and it was so great to end up getting that win.
I love him so
First
much.
game that Jameis has started under 40 degrees at kickoff. It was below 40 degrees and then some in Cleveland last night. But as much as we love Jameis and the snow game and the NFL Films reference, what Jameis is talking about is winning plays from the Pittsburgh Steelers when their backs are against the wall. Yeah. And it doesn't matter what the name on the back of the jersey is, so long as Mike Tomlin is that coach.
Yep. They're in it.
They are in it.
Yep.
And that is where it's very difficult for me to put them in the pretender category when it comes to the AFC, pretenders, and contenders, which we are going to hit coming up on the other side of this break. I'm very curious to see not only what Taylor thinks with regards to some of these fringe teams, the Denver Broncos, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Cincinnati Bengals. Are they contenders for the AFC crown? Are they pretenders? We'll do the NFC as well, and of course bring you the very latest on some other developing news in the National Football League. Daniel Jones, Taylor,
Poor DJ.
He has now been benched and now granted his release out of New York. We'll hit that and a whole lot more coming up on a Sunshine Turf Friday right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Uncover what you might have missed.
He's quick. He's got great hands. He finds the gaps.
Dandy Foods Post-Game Monday.
And most importantly, he moves the chains.
Expert analysis of Sunday's game all day. Post-Game Monday. Brought to you by Dandy Foods on 1010XL.
Tacos and sports go hand in hand, literally. You can watch sports with a taco in each hand or with a taco in one hand and a surfboard in the other. Don here from Taco Lou. I love sports, and since you're listening to this station, you love sports as well. If you love sports and tacos, then Taco Lou is calling your name. We always have the game on here, or you can call in a to-go order to watch at home, or let us cater your next watch party. Catering for the holidays? No problem. Taco Lou in Jack's Beach. Cheers to tacos, sports, holidays with the family, and tequila.
Mia here for MyBookie. What a week it's been. Looks like you guys smashed that Joe Mixon same-game parlay on Monday betting with MyBookie. Still the best sign-up deposit bonus in the industry available to Florida bettors. So what are you waiting for? Let's dig in this Sunday. The Chiefs travel to Charlotte as 11-point favorites against the Panthers. I'd be surprised if the Cats can score here against a top 10 Chiefs defense. So we'll look for the Chiefs to win 27-14 and cover that spread. Of course, a massive Sunday Night Football matchup where the Rams are 3-point underdogs at home against the Eagles. Philadelphia on 10 days rest, and their defense is sneaky good. We're looking at taking the under on that 49-point game total. MyBookie still has the double deposit bonus that doubles your money on your very first deposit up to $1,000. So don't forget to sign up now using promo code 1010XL and make yourself a winner with that double deposit bonus and promo code 1010XL. Bet anything, anytime, and from anywhere with MyBookie.
Who has the best lineup this season? Honda. Cars, trucks, SUVs, vans, hybrids, and electric. This is one of the greatest lineups Honda has ever had. And now is the best time to purchase or lease one. Visit your local Honda dealer now. Remember, only a Honda is a Honda. Pre-Game Friday, built by Dream Finders Homes on 1010XL.
Greenlaw Group is for the insured. If you think you have roof damage, call 904-302-7055 today, and they will schedule you a free roof inspection. Trust their law firm to help you fight your insurance when you need it. These storms can cause damage you may not even see yet. Call Greenlaw Group 302-7055. There's no cost to retain their law firm and no cost to have your roof inspected. They only get paid if you win. Greenlaw Group, for the insured.
In its final year, we encourage you to help create great futures for young people when you run or walk at Mackenzie's Run, Saturday, November 23rd. Join Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida for a 5K and 1 mile fun run through the beautiful stadium course at TPC Sawgrass. Enjoy food, live music, face painting, family fun, and more at our Runners Village. Register at mackenziesrun.org. Mackenzie's 5K and Fun Run, November 23rd. mackenziesrun.org.
It's a Helmets and Heels Sunshine Turf Friday.
Greetings from Daytona, where a band of dreamers took a strip of beach and turned it into a proving ground. The Great American Race, where year after year, greatness is the destination.
Start your engines, let's go!
So book your experience and soak in 500 miles of history and tradition. The Daytona 500, February 16th, 2025. Secure your seats now at Daytona500.com.
It's a game 80 years in the making. Join us for Thursday Night Football as we celebrate the 80th birthday of the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl game. The SEC and ACC face off January 2nd at 7:30 on Bill Gay grounds at Everbank Stadium. Don't miss college football pageantry on display as we celebrate our 80th anniversary. Tickets and hospitality packages are on sale now at TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com. Get yours today.
If your favorite colors are orange and green, stay close to South Beach this season.
Your source for weekly Canes news and nuggets on 1010XL is the Hurricane Report.
Brought to you by Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve on 1010XL.
If you have a slow-draining sink or toilet that sounds like it's about to back up, imagine the potential plumbing emergency when you have family over for the holidays. Flush after flush after flush. Avoid holiday clogs with a call to Duck Duck Rooter today. Duck Duck Rooter will come and resolve those plumbing issues so you can enjoy a free-flowing holiday season. Call 904-862-6769. Visit duckduckrooter.com.
Joint replacement surgery is always a tough decision, but relief from chronic pain may be just around the corner. Dr. George Barber here, and there's a lot to consider to make sure you get the proper diagnosis and best path back to the range of motion and mobility you had. Age, lifestyle, and overall health all play a part. Let the team at Barber Orthopedics give you a full analysis to help you make the best decision. Log on to BarberOrthopedics.com or call the office to make an appointment. With offices across Jacksonville and ready to help you feel good again, we'll get you back on the road to recovery at Barber Orthopedics.
If you know about artificial turf, you know it needs to be done right. Lauren Brooks here from my friends at Sunshine Turf, a family-owned company that will transform your outdoor space into the oasis of your dreams. A putting green, a pet run, a maintenance-free yard. Trust me, the team at Sunshine Turf are the experts you need to transform your lawn. With the highest quality products and budget-friendly pricing, get clean, low-maintenance synthetic grass by visiting sunshineturf.info or call 904-383-0243 to get a free quote today from Sunshine Turf.
You've got a Pepto predicament, moviegoer.
Hey, I can hear your stomach grumbling.
Sorry, I ate that entire tub of popcorn with extra butter.
You overdid it, and now your movie has turned into a blockbuster bellyache. Undo it with Pepto.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Pepto Chewables provide fast 5-symptom relief, so you can focus on the action on the big screen instead of in your stomach. When you overdo it, undo it with Pepto. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
How did the defense in the running game give overall shape to the way this played out, Jameis?
Well, I just think we were prepared. You know, one thing my trainer, he told me, he said, what did he say? He just told us to be prepared.
484 on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. That one's for you. We are celebrating not only the Browns' 24-19 win, but giving Florida State fans something to cheer for. Jameis Winston is back. Taylor Dahl, Mia O'Brien, RJ Saunders along for the ride. We love the character arc.
Yes.
of Jameis Winston. With all due respect to Andrew Winger, Taylor, you and I have said it might be the greatest redemption character arc. Yes. You have done a complete 180 from where you were 10 years ago and how you felt about him to where you are now.
Yes, I've said this for the last couple years because I was probably one of the biggest Jameis Winston haters like in the world, not only because of the Notre Dame Florida State game, but obviously off the field stuff. And I've been very vocal about those types of things on the show too. But what Jameis has done to turn himself around, turn his life around, like, and even I think we'll play the clip too of the interview before the game. He is just so grateful to be able to play, and he's so genuine in that. And I think a lot of it is because he knows he did some stupid stuff when he was younger, and it could have easily derailed things. And he now has this opportunity to continue to start in the NFL, and I love it. But I think he's just become this person that really. You can say you've changed, but I really do genuinely think that Jameis has become this just like family man that like loves and respects people and is just grateful for everything that he's been given. And it's been really fun to watch that. But he's also just hilarious.
Our friend Charles on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures, says watching those Jameis clips is making him feel good on this beautiful Friday. We echo that sentiment. We hope that these Jameis clips make you feel good. We also are still accepting on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures, your Thanksgiving feast week. And by Thanksgiving feast week, we're going to be workshopping this segment in the 1 o'clock hour. What is your turkey when you look ahead to the schedule this weekend? What is your mashed potatoes? Some might define mashed potatoes like our good friend Cole Thompson, who once upon a time said Graham Mertz was mashed potatoes. Nothing special. Cole will join us coming up in said 1 o'clock hour. Maybe you say mashed potatoes are sneaky good. And so perhaps you say the matchup between Wake Forest and Miami this weekend is your mashed potatoes of your feast weekend lineup. Maybe, like so many of you on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, you will be playing the song this weekend, RJ, after the Orlando Magic handed the Los Angeles Lakers their first home loss of the 2024 season.
2-point game. Clock's ticking. 15 seconds as Franz brings it up the near sideline. He'll center it. Davis in front of him. Magic going to have a shot to tie or win it. Franz backs away. Now Reddish. Wagner step back. 3-ball is up. It's in! Franz stuck it! 119, 118, 2.5 seconds on the clock. Timeout Lakers. They're going to have a look. Maybe the biggest shot of Franz Wagner's career.
Stephen in Mandarin says that's his appetizer for Thanksgiving feast week. We love it. We'll pay homage to the Magic throughout the duration of today's program as well. But back to last night's Thursday night game and to the AFC playoff race, Taylor Dahl. We said there's no question that the Pittsburgh Steelers are well coached. They would not be at the 8-win mark. They would not be 8-3. And as of right now, if the season were to end today, the 3rd seed in the AFC without said coaching. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that you have both the Chiefs and the Bills, the 1 and the 2 seed if the playoffs ended today. You have them as contenders.
For sure. Yes.
Where do you slot the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yeah, so I have talked about this recently that 2.5 weeks ago, I thought it was more so a little bit of luck. I thought it was just Tomlin getting them over, just doing Tomlin things and getting them through some of, just over that little arc of where you need to be like that 500, maybe a game over 500 team. The more I've watched the Steelers, and even after last night, and I know it's a 2-win Browns team, but I do think everybody, even bad teams, end up having those losses every now and then. I still do think that there's a lot of good, positive things that have come out of the Steelers, and my tangent later will actually be on George Pickens, so I'll go more into that. But George Pickens is a really, really, really good football player. And Najee Harris has really started to find himself this season, too. Their offensive line, they last night got absolutely rocked by the Cleveland Browns, but have been more of a staple normally. And their defense, you can't lie, has been one of the better defenses. So if Russ plays, and I said the stat earlier, he only had 7 incomplete passes last night and a touchdown, no interceptions. It's a weird game. The snow games, crazy things happen in the snow games, and I'm not using that as an excuse because both teams were playing in the snow. But I do think that the Steelers have a chance to actually battle in the playoffs, and I would guess at this point they're 8-3. They're going to the playoffs. And so I think that they have enough pieces there, and with good coaching, they are able to elevate them. Would I put them in the top 5 of what I think that is the AFC? No. But I personally, and I heard Hayes and Frank talking about this yesterday, Mia, and they were just both like, I mean, they have, you have TJ Watt, and like that's about it. And I was like, they actually have a lot of decent players when you go
saw
through their
Nick
rosters.
Herbig last night.
Yeah.
Alex Highsmith, 2 of the highest sack rates in the National Football League right now. And part of that, because I saw the plot chart this morning from PFF, part of that is because they don't face nearly as many double teams, and it's because TJ Watt's being double teamed on the other side.
And it's still getting through.
That's still a 3-headed monster that teams elsewhere, including in this town, would die on the vine for.
Definitely. And so I think that's it. When you're factoring in all of the things, and we talk a lot about the trenches and how important the trenches is. Tony Baselli talks about it all the time. You can win a lot of football games if you are winning in the trenches, and that has been a problem here in Jacksonville, and that has been a problem, honestly, league-wide, a lot of places with bad offensive line play, or maybe having that one stud defensive end, but not having like a full, complete, not having the interior you need, or an opposite end edge. And so I do think just from that alone, and Mike Tomlin, and how Russ maybe is playing a little safe, but because of that, he's not making a ton of mistakes right now, and I think that's benefiting them. George Pickens, like I said, I'll have a tangent about that later, I think had a very off game.
But are you calling them a contender?
I'm going to say contender.
So you have the Steelers as a contender. I do as well. I do agree with what Robert just posted in the MyBookie Digital Studio chat line on YouTube. The Steelers have 5 wins by 1 possession.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the ball has to bounce your way, but as we've discussed at length, and I know you did a tangent on it as well, Taylor, at some point or another, if you continue to win 1-score games, that's a reflection of coaching.
Yes.
And that, for me, makes you a contender. I don't believe the Pittsburgh Steelers will win the AFC, but just like I'm going to put the Los Angeles Chargers in the contender column, I am going to do so because I believe in the coaching and I believe in the culture and the foundation in both those places. Do I think it's flashy? No. I don't believe in either locale it's flashy.
Yeah, no.
Do I believe it's sustainable? Yes. Is it going to be pretty? No. Do they still need pieces to actually usurp and get to the top of that contender column?
Yeah.
Absolutely. But at this juncture, in terms of how they are built, yes, I am putting the Bills, the Chiefs, the Steelers, and the Chargers in the contender category. We'll go through some others here, but I just those are 4 for me.
Yes.
Based off how they are built, from the coach to the players in that locker room to who they believe their identity is, they are contenders.
Yeah, and the Steelers have wins over the Ravens, over the Commanders, over the Broncos, over the Falcons, over the Chargers. And to me, you're not talking about some easy stretch of games that they've barely been beating these teams. They're beating good football teams. They're beating well-coached football teams. And Mike Tomlin is out-coaching these also other good coaches. And I do think that is a factor. But I'm definitely putting them in contender. I agree with Chargers. I am very, very impressed with the Chargers, and that's one of the things that a lot of Bears fans are very sad about because they didn't even interview Jim Harbaugh, and that is one coach right now that if you want to talk about a coach flipping a team completely, and arguably a team that on paper is worse than the team they had last year, but playing better, the Chargers are that team.
I would also put the Ravens in the contender category. I think water is wet and the sky is blue. They would have the 6th seed if the season was to end today in the AFC. The Chargers would have the 5th seed. The team that would have the 4th seed, the Houston Texans. I am prepared to put the Houston Texans with Nico Collins in the contender column.
Yeah.
I will not put the Houston Texans sans Nico Collins in the contender category, which in turn says to me they shouldn't be in the contender category at all if one player going down is what collapses your entire offensive operation.
Yeah, I, at this point in time, are putting them in as pretenders. I say that, but I will also say that it reminds me a lot of the Jags of last year in the beginning. The Jags start 8-3. I had a lot of questions at that 8-3. Were they actually 8-3? Was it a fake 8-3? Why wasn't this offense looking the way you wanted it? Was it sustainable to kind of win games the way that they were early in the season? And I feel the exact same way right now with Houston. Yes, without Nico Collins. And so my biggest thing is, can the Texans switch it? Do the Texans fall into what the Jags did last year and have this where everything kind of catches up with them late and they fall apart? Or are they real? Is C.J. Stroud? Do we see those glimpses of C.J. Stroud that we saw last year? Do we see this next step up with the Nico Collins return? And can they flip the end of the season and make it a different storyline from the Jags? That's when I'll be convinced that they're contenders. But right now, they're pretenders.
And if we do, it'll have to come against teams who we just listed are contenders.
Yes.
They play the Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens in a span of 5 days.
Yep.
Good luck. Yeah. The final seed, if the season was to end today in the AFC, is the Denver Broncos. I feel it's unfair for us to praise Jim Harbaugh and the turnaround in Los Angeles, to praise the coaching of Mike Tomlin, and not give Sean Payton credit. I think we have seen Bo Nix develop. I know there are Bo Nix truthers out there in Healigan Nation.
Yeah.
That's a team, though, that I look at the wins that they've had and the strength of those victories, of the rosters they've competed against, and I still have reservations and would put them in the pretender category, which hurts because we just outlined what we define a contender as, and the Broncos fill that, but I just can't bring myself to do it.
I'm with you. I think I need to see a little bit more. I love what the Broncos have done, and last year when we picked our, we'll always go through and pick our winners of everything. I had the Broncos making the playoffs last year because I thought that with the defense that they had, even losing pieces, I thought that it was going to be strong enough. I thought that Sean Payton was going to be able to elevate Russell Wilson. I thought that with some of these weapons that they had that maybe weren't top weapons, which obviously Jerry Jeudy's not there anymore, but like with the Cortland Sutton and a Jerry Jeudy and some of these pieces that they would be competitive, and it fell short last year. Bo Nix is playing at a pretty high level right now, and we just saw what he did this last weekend. But I do think I personally need to see a little bit more from the Broncos to put them in the contender category.
The Broncos have one win over a team with a winning record.
Yeah.
That's the Atlanta Falcons, the 38-6 win they got this past weekend. They did beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers week 3. That was kind of an aberration, regression to the mean. The Bucs were coming off of a win over the Lions in Detroit. I think that was just a weird situation. And so, not to discredit that victory for the Broncos, but that's where I look at this and say they have one win over a team with a winning record. A couple of teams on the bubble in the AFC: Colts, Dolphins, Bengals. Which of those teams are you saying is a contender through the last 6 weeks of the season? Which one is a pretender?
I want to say Bengals, but because of what the defense has done, it's really hard for me to do that. I just did my gym of the week this week on Joe Burrow, which usually I don't do a loser in my gym of the week, but Joe Burrow is playing at a very, very high level this season. 27 touchdowns, just 4 picks, and it's just almost 70% completion percentage. Like everything you want your quarterback to do, everything you want your wide receiver to do, Jamar Chase is doing, and their defense is just blowing it despite having a sack leader in the NFL and Trey Hendrickson. Defense is just so bad, and every time you feel like they can do it, they can't. And people might get mad at this. I kind of want to put the Colts there. And I think that the Colts, I've seen their defense getting progressively better every single week, and which is scary. I also think that when Aaron Rodgers almost said, when Anthony Richardson is on, which we saw this last week, their offense can also be really dangerous. And this is even with Michael Pittman not really having that good of a year, but they're able to run the ball. AR can spread the ball to multiple people. I want to say, and they're 2 games behind the Texans, but I'm putting the Texans as a pretender. So I feel like they have that shot there. And I know people are going to hate that because it's the inconsistencies of AR, but it's hard for me not to watching their last 4 or 5 games and what they've been able to kind of put together.
Between those 3 teams, the Bengals, the Colts, the Dolphins, 2 wins against teams with a winning record. The Colts have one of them. It's a win over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, week 4, maybe it's a weird regression to the mean, however you want to dice it. And the Miami Dolphins victory over the Los Angeles Rams week 10. That's it. Yeah. Otherwise, these teams have just been, their few wins that they do have been beating up on bottom feeders, for lack of a better term. Now, when you look at the rest of the schedule for those 3 teams on the brink, in the hunt, and you look at the strength of their schedule, certainly you look at the Cincinnati Bengals. They will play the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Dallas Cowboys, the Tennessee Titans, the Cleveland Browns, Denver Broncos, and then again the Steelers. The Colts will face the Detroit Lions this upcoming Sunday. Have fun. But then they have a little bit lighter of a schedule. The Patriots, the Broncos, the Titans, the Giants, and the Jaguars to finish the season. Meanwhile, for the Dolphins, the benefit of playing in the AFC East. You will face the New England Patriots again and the New York Jets twice. But then they will have to play the Green Bay Packers, the Houston Texans, and the San Francisco 49ers. So that is where, to the Miami Dolphins on the text line, Design by Lifetime Enclosures, I have some reservations. But to your point, Taylor, both the Bengals and the Colts are on the brink of contender because they're getting healthy.
Yep.
And because of that remaining schedule. Let's do the NFC on the other side on a Sunshine Turf Friday here on Helmets and Heels. You think somebody is a pretender that we said is a contender? Hit us up. 641-1010 is the number to reach us at here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Value or flavor? Price or taste? Why choose when you can get both with everyday deals at Sonny's? Right now, you can get the pork big deal for $10, the pork and rib combo for $12, and all-you-can-eat ribs for just $19.99. Yep, you heard right. All your favorites are now available all day, every day. And that's why it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
You want to know what 3 little words everyone wants to hear, especially this time of the year? Toyotathon is on. Oh, yeah, I like the sound of that. And it's going on now at Arlington Toyota. Mia here, Arlington's lot is packed with hundreds of new Toyotas, and they're all marked with Toyotathon savings. How big are those savings? How about financing as low as 0% on select new models? 0%. When was the last time you heard the word zero? But before you get all caught up in the frenzy like me, remember that every new Toyota purchase at Arlington, you get the benefit of their 60-day exchange program. That's 60 days to love your new purchase or exchange it for one that you do. Plus, every new Toyota purchase from Arlington comes with their lifetime warranty. That's unlimited time and miles. So where should you get your Toyotathon savings? From Arlington Toyota. With a 4.7 out of 5-star rating and over 21,000 Google reviews, they know how to do Toyotathon right. Shop in person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
Joe C for Hard Rock Bet, and we're into the second half of football season. You've seen how teams are shaping up. If you haven't already, it's a perfect time to try your first bet at Hard Rock Bet. Perfect example. Earlier this season, a Florida bettor went 16 for 16 picking winners, turned a $15 bet into more than $100,000. Try Hard Rock Bet now and get up to $100 back in bonus bets if your first doesn't win. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Hey, Jaguars fans, as the official whiskey of the NFL, it's not a kickoff without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. And that's why we've built the Crown Royal Rig. An absurdly awesome 18-wheeler delivering the generous spirit to stadiums and tailgates across the country. Follow the Royal Rig on its journey from city to city, bringing together local cuisine, NFL legends, and the opportunity to pack a purple bag for charity and win tickets to Super Bowl 59. Visit crownroyal.com for rules and more, and please drink responsibly.
Helmets and Heels.
It's a Sunshine Turf Friday.
Introducing Gatorade Water. Alkaline and electrolyte infused for great taste. Gatorade Water, always in motion.
Find it at your local Winn-Dixie. For the athletes who give everything, nothing beats Gatorade. The studied, tested, and proven fuel of the world's greatest athletes. Gatorade Water, proudly supporting high school sports on the First Coast.
Hey, Googans, Hicken here from my friends at Beaches Dermatology. We all know summer's now gone, but that doesn't mean the sun goes away. It's Florida, right? That said, you still need to protect yourself from that bright sun. Golfing, fishing, weekends at your kids' game, or just taking care of the yard. Protect yourself and your skin. Beaches Dermatology and I want to remind you to wear your sunscreen. It's important. Holidays are also approaching, so take care of that spouse of yours with a gift from Beaches Dermatology. Call today or go online at beachesdermatology.com.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On November 22nd, 1986, hockey legend Edmonton Oiler Wayne Gretzky becomes the 13th NHL player to score 500 goals, as well as the fastest to ever do so.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you today about having a grateful spirit. As we journey in life, it's so easy to take things for granted, but I want to encourage you to never get tired of thanking God for your blessings. Take time also to thank the people in your life who have and are helping you to become the person you are today. Don't go through life complaining, go through life praising.
To hear more inspirational messages by Reverend Dr. Nicholas Lowe, please visit our website at stjohnthedivine.com.
Save money this holiday season. Buy pre-owned. That's right. Pre-owned guns, guitars, surfboards, tools, and especially jewelry. Beaches Jewelry and Pawn is here to help you save. Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacks Beach. Online at beachesjewelryandpawn.com.
Electricians, innovators, and tech enthusiasts, listen up. Miller Electric is shaping the future, and we want you to be a part of it. From healthcare and data centers, corporate offices, aviation, and industrial facilities, Miller Electric is powering the most exciting projects in Jacksonville and beyond. We offer not just a job, but a thrilling career with great pay and incredible benefits. Visit us at millercareers.com to apply. Miller Electric, where your skills meet our vision, an equal opportunity employer.
Facing a DUI charge or even a boating under the influence charge? Well, I'm your man, DUI lawyer Malcolm Anthony at 285-4LAW. 285-4LAW. Once again, 285-4LAW.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can STEM, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Former Jaguars linebacker Tom McManus on the Jaguars defense under Ryan Nielsen.
The defense has let this team down.
It's the worst in football.
And time. Their rankings. I mean, at the bottom, near the bottom, I just don't get a lot of things with what Ryan Nielsen's trying to do. And I have questions about, does he feel like all we heard coming in, press. He's got Darby in off coverage all the time. I thought Darby's strength was press. It's like, well, why are you playing off? Do you not have the personnel to play the defense you really want to play?
Tom McManus on Jaguars Today. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale Lighting, Fans, and Home Decor on 1010XL.
What today is? It's Transformation Sunday. It's Transformation Sunday. We're not looking in our past. We're not looking ahead. We focus on right here, right now. All right, let me tell you what faith is, okay? Faith is not understanding your reality. Faith is believing that it can change. Come on. Faith is believing that we got everything that's required to go out there and get a job today. All right, so fight for each other. Let's be decisive. Let's be tenacious. Let's go kick some booty. Come on. It's your beauty. It ain't your booty. It's your beauty.
Taylor Dahl does not know which Jameis Winston segments and clips I've prepared for her and RJ Saunders on this Sunshine Turf Friday as we celebrate the return of Jameis Winston and provide a little feel-good to your Friday. So that one was from a victory over the Saints, or rather, when the Browns went to New Orleans, I believe that was. I don't believe that was from Jameis's tenure in New Orleans. Either way, it was at the Superdome. Let's go kick some booty. Let's dive into our NFC playoff contenders and pretenders, Taylor. We had way more contenders, I think, than I anticipated on the AFC side. Will we see a similar number on the NFC side? Again, I think this one goes out without saying. The Detroit Lions are contenders at this juncture. Unlike in the AFC, though, where we quickly wrote off both the Chiefs and the Bills as contenders, would you consider the second-seeded Philadelphia Eagles a contender at this juncture?
I do, yes. I think that it took me a bit, and there was questions in the beginning of what this defense was going to be able to do because we saw a 75-sack season 2 seasons ago, and then we saw a terrible defense last year, and I think that was the largest question. I know there's a lot of kind of back and forth about what Jalen Hurts is. I think Jalen Hurts has the ability to be a very good quarterback in the league. I do think he depends on his run a lot, but I mentioned this the other day. He's on pace to have 19 rushing touchdowns as a quarterback. That's crazy. And Saquon Barkley, probably the best off-season move across the league, honestly,
Correct.
of what it when you're talking about the impact that they're making. So yes, I am putting Eagles as a contender.
They have a 97% chance of making the postseason. I would put them as a collective in the contender column. I still have reservations about the head coach when things go awry. Is he a contender or is he a pretender? Which is, of course, fascinating given our conversation about those AFC teams who we are putting in the contender column solely based on coaching. And the fact that that is the Achilles heel or could be the Achilles heel of the Philadelphia Eagles is interesting. But I'm with you. I will put them in the contender category.
He is, by the way, I think when I did my tangent the other day, like the third or fourth best coach when it comes to one-score games in the NFL. Winning them.
There you have it. It's okay. It's okay if you yell
It's a
at the
little
fans
crazy.
and you want to bring your kids to your presser to deflect from the media. But if you win, just win, baby.
Yeah.
Judged on dubs. The third seed, if the playoffs were to end today in the NFC, Taylor, is the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals, this is what their schedule looks like the rest of the way. They will travel to Seattle. They do have to travel to Minnesota. Then they host Seattle, host the Patriots, at Carolina, at the Rams, and home against San Francisco in two pivotal NFC West matchups to end the season. Are they contenders or pretenders? Because if you look at their previous games up to this point in the season, they've beaten the Rams handily, 41-10. They snuck out a victory by 1 point against the San Francisco 49ers, who, by the way, do not have a winning record at this juncture.
And was it the Rams were without Puka and Cooper that game?
That's correct.
Yeah.
They beat the Chargers. They beat it wasn't even shorthanded. It was Tua's return in the Dolphins matchup down in Miami. They beat the Bears and they beat the Jets. And so what the Cardinals can say at this juncture is that they have not beaten a team with a winning record either, not named the Los Angeles Rams, which the Los Angeles Rams, it's an interesting situation because the Niners don't have a winning record right now. So I would say the assessment of the Cardinals, and certainly a young upstart operation that is the fifth best rushing attack in the NFL right now. Bet you didn't know that one either. That was crazy. And when I realized that in our Duval Rundown
James Conner's
preparation
been
yesterday,
insane.
he's been awesome.
Yeah.
They're running this old school Joe Gibbs, Washington Redskins throwback style of offense.
Yeah.
And of course, having a dual threat quarterback like Kyler Murray only aids that. But
he's able to be mobile again this year. And that's what, when I've talked to a lot of people, the issue with him is he hadn't, like when you're coming off of the injuries he hadn't been able to be the full mobile Kyler. And this is like the first we're seeing week 4 or 5, him kind of really start to get that back, which is a big part of his game in the beginning of his career.
They have 3 wins by 2 points or less. They also lost to the Buffalo Bills by a touchdown, and they lost to the Detroit Lions by a touchdown. And so I'm curious, do you still need to do a little bit more of observing the Cardinals operation before you put them in either category?
Yeah, Cardinals are very, very difficult for me, honestly. I do think I need to see a little bit more. I'm not, and I also, let me preface this by saying I've never been the biggest Kyler Murray fan. And so it's hard for me to put them at that next level. I think you get Marvin Harrison Jr., who, though he's had flashes, has honestly been kind of had up and down moments and hasn't really flashed the way that everyone thought MHJ would right away. And so I think that if he really gets going, then yes, they can be contenders. But I do think that if it kind of stays on this path of like a good game, a bad game from MHJ, then we're really never going to see them be able to fully contend once we hit the postseason.
The 4th seed, if the postseason was to end today in the NFC, is the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons are currently riding a 2-game losing streak. They lost to the Rizzler-led New Orleans Saints by a field goal 2 weeks ago. They also lost the Denver Broncos in, quite frankly, impressive fashion. 38-6 thumping at the hands of Bo Nix and company last weekend. They have their bye week this week, the same as the Jacksonville Jaguars. They have the Chargers, the Vikings, the Raiders, the Giants, the Commanders, and the Panthers remaining on their schedule. That is the reason that I believe Atlanta could sneak out an NFC South title, solely because of the remaining schedule and because of how banged up the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are. Because while the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are riding a 4-game losing streak, they have the Giants, the Panthers, the Raiders, the Chargers, the Cowboys, the Panthers, the Saints, also a pretty manageable schedule, but they have that additional adversity that they must overcome in not having Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
Yeah. I think that I
still think the Falcons are pretenders, by the way.
I was about to say, I think they'll win the division, but I think they're pretenders. I also you're already hearing now at this point around the Falcons fan base and around the Falcons media that it's time to bench Kirk Cousins and put Michael Penix Jr. in. And so if you're at that point, then to me, you are a pretender. If you're talking about benching your quarterback, then you aren't a contender in this moment.
The Minnesota Vikings are the 5th seed in the NFC as of today. The Green Bay Packers are the 6th seed. Both would be wild card finishers with the Detroit Lions winning that division. You've seen a lot of both of those teams, or maybe you really haven't, Taylor. You've seen a lot of them historically, but maybe not this season up to this point, are both in the contender pile.
I would honestly say the Vikings are more of a contender than the Packers at this point.
Interesting.
And that's weird saying with Sam Darnold. It really is. But I do think that the Vikings, everything they did this offseason, and in addition, Kevin O'Connell, Brian Flores, their coaching is just absolutely fantastic, and they benefit their players so well. But I do think that Aaron Jones has started getting his run game picked up a little bit, which was like kind of the hit on them in those first 4 or 5 weeks. So that opens more opportunities for Sam Darnold. When you have Justin Jefferson, I think you're already on that cusp of being a contender, just because he's definitely one of the best, if not the best, wide receivers in the league. And then you, by the way, have Jordan Addison too. TJ Hawkinson just came back from injury like 4 weeks ago. They're starting to kind of mesh him in, but it has been like a slow progression of seeing him. So when this offense gets him back at full strength, with Aaron Jones going, with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, with their offensive line, who, by the way, lost their best in Christian Darrisaw, gets Cam Robinson and hasn't flinched one bit. Their offensive line still ranks one of the best in the league. And then their defense, when it comes to pressures, they got rid of Danielle Hunter, ended up getting Jonathan Grenard, who has had a really, really good season. But Jonathan Grenard, Pat Jones, and Van Ginkel all have like 7 or more sacks on the season. So they're able to create pressure. Their secondary is getting better, more comfortable as they start to mesh. And for me, I just feel like, I don't know. I really don't love Jordan Love. I think that he's made way too many mistakes this season. I think last year, those last 7-8 games were a little fluky. And I almost feel like there's too many weapons on their offense it's not like they have a Justin Jefferson. They have a lot of good guys. And I think that Christian Watson may be trending to be their number one, but he also has a lot of injury issues. We've seen that in his short term, in the beginning of his career. So I don't know. I would say Vikings contender, Packers pretender.
I will tell you this much. I think the Packers and the Niners game this weekend is the ultimate it's the loser leaves town. That's what will sway it for me. I would put both in the contender category for now, especially
the
knowing
Niners too, you're saying, or the Vikings?
No, the Vikings. The Vikings and the Packers. I would put them both in the contender category for now, because ultimately Green Bay has lost 3 games and 2 of them have been by 5 points or less.
Mm-hmm.
And so that says to me that this is a competitive operation week in, week out. It's a well-oiled machine, even if it still has a couple challenges ahead with their schedule. The Vikings will also have the benefit of 3 home games in the month of December. As we wrap up.
It is me being a hater a little bit. And also I do think Matt LaFleur saves a lot of
Mike Tomlin saves a lot of things, and we put the Steelers in the contender pile in the AFC.
And that's what, to me, I think that, like, if you were to put Jordan Love on a different team, he wouldn't look like he would with the Packers. If you put some of these other wide receivers on another team, they wouldn't be number 1 wide receivers, and they look like they could be in Green Bay. But yes, I think that Mike Tomlin is that. I think Mike Tomlin's also done it for like 20 plus years, so it does add a whole other level to it. But a little bit of hate for me too.
Let's wrap with some teams that are hanging out along the bubble of the NFC playoff picture. The Washington Commanders have the 7th seed in the NFC as of this writing. The Commanders will face the Dallas Cowboys this Sunday. They still have the Titans, the Saints, the Eagles, the Falcons, and the Cowboys again remaining on their schedule. The 3 teams that are in the hunt: the 5-5 Los Angeles Rams, the 5-5 Seattle Seahawks, the 5-5 San Francisco 49ers. Hell, I'll throw one more out there. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who we already touched upon. I will throw them into the conversation, not to include your Chicago Bears in the hunt category, Taylor, but because those 3 teams that are ahead of them in the NFC North race, obviously significantly ahead of them comparatively to the Falcons and the Bucs at this juncture.
Yeah, I think that the NFC West in general is going to be interesting, but I personally think out of that whole division, the Rams are the contender. and the rest are pretenders at this point. I think that the Washington Commanders are pretenders, personally. I think the only really good win they had this season was against the Cardinals. When they've played good defenses, they've lost. They could barely beat the Giants. It was, I feel like they've had a little bit of the beginner's luck, and we've seen it catch up a little bit. Seattle, we just saw Geno have a really good game, but I just still think they're just
over the place. It's a roller coaster ride.
Up and down.
I do believe in Mike McDonald and the defense that he's building out there, but I don't think it's supposed to happen this year.
Yeah.
I think the fact that Ryan Grubb's offense has translated so seamlessly with Geno Smith is a win.
Yes.
Because I wasn't sure that would occur. I think the most disappointing team, and at this point, I don't want to call them a pretender because, again, they have that championship DNA, but it is the San Francisco 49ers. And I've read some encouraging pieces from Tim Kawakami and some other folks who've covered the Niners for the San Francisco Chronicle and other outlets in The Athletic for years and years. And they have said that Brock Purdy deserves more credit for what he's been able to do with no Christian McCaffrey, with a offensive line that, if it hadn't drafted Dominic Pooney in the third round, would have major holes and major deficiencies compared to the deficiencies they already currently have. They scored last season 27 touchdowns in the red zone. On the ground alone. 27 rushing touchdowns alone last year in the red zone. They have 4 this year, and they're all courtesy of Brock Purdy.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you don't have the Christian McCaffrey. And we talked about that before, what Christian McCaffrey does for the Niners, and not just in the run game, but everything he adds to the passing game, what he adds to pass blocking, what he adds to just having to have another person worry about a running back. Like, you have to have a whole defensive guy to worry about Christian McCaffrey, and most teams don't have that. So, yeah, I mean, that's a big thing. So, yeah, I guess we do at a 5-5, and you're only a game out of winning the NFC West right now. So if Christian McCaffrey coming back now, start getting some things going, you could see them pulling out the win at the end.
This weekend will certainly be a pivot point for many of these pretenders and contenders across both conferences. It's part of why, as we get ready to make our feast week predictions, games to watch for, Taylor, something tells me that Packers and Niners game may be the main event. It may be the ham or the turkey on our Thanksgiving feast table. Speaking of food, the man who once dubbed Graham Mertz mashed potatoes, Cole Thompson, joins us on the other side as we turn to the college game coming up next on a Sunshine Turf Friday right here on Helmets and Heels.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL. Sometimes it's a stunning performance.
3 touchdowns tonight.
Sometimes it's the guy who gets the job done.
He doesn't take a play off.
Listen from a Universal Roof and Contracting Offensive Player of the Game.
He is a difference maker now.
On 1010XL.
Hey, Jacksonville, Taylor Dahl here of Helmets and Heels. The Chick-fil-A Peppermint Chip Milkshake is a holiday tradition that's back for another season. Hand-spun the old-fashioned way, the festive peppermint-flavored milkshake is made with Chick-fil-A ice cream dessert and features chips of crunchy peppermint bark. It's minty, merry, and topped with whipped cream and a cherry when served in stores. Order in the Chick-fil-A app now or at your local Chick-fil-A restaurant.
It's Thanksgiving week, and Monahan Jewelers has the best deals in town with up to 40% off the entire store. Thousands of beautiful pieces are all on sale with fantastic prices on our entire inventory, including up to 30% off on GIA certified diamonds. We're your local family jeweler, so come visit us today and on Small Business Saturday for up to 40% off on diamond studs, engagement rings, colored gemstones, our designer brands, custom design, everything. The name you can trust in fine jewelry, Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Mia here, and when I was buying a new construction home last summer, there was no question. Dreamfinders Homes was the builder for me. A big reason why, their unbeatable interest rates. Right now, you could take advantage of a 2.99% year one rate. So find your dream home, take advantage of unbeatable rates, and move in today. I'll say it again, 2.99% year one rate. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Picking here for Prize Picks, the best place to get real money sports action. With more than 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. All you got to do is pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Great thing about Prize Picks, they put their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, which they usually do, I get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. Man, cook up some hot takes with your friends and win real money this football season. You think Justin Jefferson will get more than 83.5 yards next week? You and your crew run your game on Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code JAX, that's J-A-X, and get $50 instantly when you play 5. That's code JAX on Prize Picks. You get $50 when you play just 5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, man. Run your game.
It's a force that can't be contained, propelled by purpose, pride, and the power to protect.
When winning isn't just the mission, it's your passion. You pursue it.
You make power plays.
Aim for fences. And go for end zones. You believe that your moment is now. At Farrah & Farrah, we deliver game day energy 24/7.
If you've been injured, put our force to work for you. Jacksonville.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Get down to the bank Sunday, December 1st, when the Jaguars go head-to-head with division rivals, the Houston Texans. You won't want to miss our My Cause, My Cleats game, when your favorite players get to champion causes close to their heart by wearing custom-designed cleats. Lock in your seats now for a 1 p.m. kickoff by calling 904-633-2000 or visit us online at jaguars.com/tickets. We'll see you there.
Sunshine Turf Friday.
David Garrard here. Playing in the NFL can put a lot of wear and tear on your body, especially your knees. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has kept me mobile and ready to tackle every day.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialist, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
Greetings from Daytona, where a band of dreamers took a strip of beach and turned it into a proving ground. The Great American Race, where year after year, greatness is the destination. So book your experience and soak in 500 miles of history and tradition. The Daytona 500, February 16th, 2025. Secure your seats now at Daytona500.com.
Hey, this is Bert Cannon with the First Coast YMCA. Youth sports at the Y can help nurture your future athlete's potential and experience the joy of being a kid. At the Y, we're providing a safe, clean, and fun environment with basketball, soccer, volleyball, gymnastics, elite skills training, and more. Best of all, participation in Legacy Youth Sports League is free with your family membership. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update, brought to you by Prize Picks. The Gators are only 1 day away from the number 9 ranked Ole Miss Rebels coming into the Swamp. Head coach Billy Napier is excited for another great opportunity for his team. Consistency and focus is what he has seen from his players this week as they look to send the seniors off with a win in their last game in Gainesville.
Excited about the matchup this weekend. Obviously, right in the middle of the prep. I think the key is that we're completely present every day. You've got to earn the right to win, but more importantly, each day of the week. I think our focus has been really good so far, relatively healthy, and excited about kind of seeing where we're at. It should be a pretty special day in the Swamp. off and we celebrate Senior Day. Overall, really looking forward to the opportunity and the challenge of Saturday.
Kickoff at noon. Listen to the game live on 1010XL 92.5 FM. It's 62 degrees at 1 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Light up your lunch with Helmets and Heels.
Presented by First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
SEC, Florida State. Florida State, your brothers. Your team, your heartbeat. We some dogs, we ain't no puppies. Let's go. We some dogs. Wide receivers, y'all cannot be stopped. The whole game. We got the best running back in the whole damn league. And we got a quarterback that's gonna toss that thing. O-line, wake up. You know what we gotta do, y'all. Let's go. Y'all been in that war. Y'all got the hardest coach on y'all. Coach Tricky getting y'all ass. I know ain't nobody from Mississippi getting y'all ass like Coach Tricky. Hell no. He getting my ass. And I play quarterback.
Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
A very special Jameis Winston clip as we begin the 1 o'clock hour here on Helmets and Heels. Cole Thompson of SEC Unfiltered is our guest on the Garber Auto Mall hotline. Cole, we're celebrating the return of Jameis. We're celebrating the upcoming Thanksgiving holiday. It is a pleasure, as always, to hear your sonorous voice, my friend.
I would just like to say it is an honor to be able to be on this show with Helmets and Heels, with Taylor Dahl and Mia O'Brien, right here on 1010XL. I'm excited to be on the show. My God, how do you not want to run through a wall for that man?
I know.
That is the person that I am going into battle for. That is the person that I would allow my daughter to marry and have as many fun stories. Everything about Jameis Winston is what is needed for a dysfunctional, disastrous organization like the Cleveland Browns. Sign him to a lifetime contract, not to be your starting quarterback, but to be the head of your vibes. And Mia, I'm not trying to take this light away from you, but I got to check in on my friend Taylor. Taylor, how you holding up?
Hi.
Is everything going okay over there? And I'm not talking about Chicago. I'm talking about realizing that Notre Dame is not going to the college football playoff.
This is literally what I wanted to have you on for because you're honestly kind of annoying me lately, Cole. My God.
I'm sorry. I know. I'm the worst.
No, listen. So this has been, I want to hear your argument, and I've seen some of your tweets and I've watched your videos of why you don't think they deserve it. My question is because, and I keep going back to last year when we were having this conversation of whether Florida State deserved to make the playoff or whether they didn't. And when they didn't, a lot of the conversation was, okay, well, they don't have Jordan Travis. Without Jordan Travis, they are not the same football team as they would be going into this playoff as they were during the season with him. And so when you are doing when they're doing these rankings, is there no conversation about, okay, the football team that is playing right now is not at all the same one in the same spot in the same place that they were in week 2 when Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois?
No, I think that partially it's just me kind of having a gripe that Notre Dame doesn't play in a conference and they don't get a conference championship, so they're not able to have that ramification of if we lose this game, it becomes a disaster. The problem was that when you look at Florida State, there was enough evidence over the last 2 games. And really what hurt them more importantly was when Tate Rodemaker suffered the concussion and he wasn't able to play in the ACC title game, they realized how abysmal this offense was running underneath Alex Atkins, underneath Mike Norvell. Meanwhile, it also created an opportunity, and this is the part where I think a lot of people forget. There was now that moment to where they could justifiably leave out Florida State because it wasn't just the body of work and the eye test, but Georgia didn't hold up its end of the bargain. Because if Georgia were to beat Alabama down in the SEC championship in Atlanta, then you would say, well, we're not only going to have 4 teams in, we're going to have 4 undefeated teams in. Because Michigan was undefeated, Washington was undefeated, Georgia would have been undefeated, and Florida State would have been undefeated as conference champions. So the head-to-head battle with Texas and Alabama from week 2 would have gone out the window. Notre Dame is a fantastic team this year. And Taylor, you know this from me. I grew up a Notre Dame fan. I love the Irish. I do. And Notre Dame has drastically looked different. Their rushing attack is potent as all hell. They've gotten an identity on offense with Mike Denbrock now calling the plays. There's a consistency with Riley Leonard that you're not going to get 350 passing yards per game, but you are going to get a completion percentage hovering around 62.8%. You're going to get one touchdown pass, minimize the turnovers. And even without Benjamin Morrison, this defense has been lights out. Their secondary, headlined by Xavier Watts, is phenomenal. But I do think that we have to value the sense of one thing, which is if we're going to penalize a team for playing a game that wasn't promised, we have to look at the grand scheme of everything. When you look currently at the status and the strength of schedule for all these other opponents that are going to have to play one more game, Arizona State, BYU, Colorado, potentially Clemson, Tennessee for that matter, they all have a tougher strength of schedule. And strength of schedule has to be a factor into the conversation, but so does eye test and so does resume. The resume for Notre Dame isn't as weak because of the Texas A&M win is looking more promising, but when you go toe-to-toe and say, well, every team has one bad loss, who is the worst of those losses? It's Notre Dame at home against an NIU squad that hasn't been able to live up to the expectations and is simply going to finish 6-6 this year. It's not that I'm putting down a Notre Dame. If there was a way to where the SEC were to have Florida beat Ole Miss this weekend or Oklahoma beat Alabama this weekend, well, then it's a moot point because of Notre Dame would still be one of the 12 best teams regardless of it, and we wouldn't have to have the argument of putting in a fifth SEC squad. But there's so many people talking about Indiana having to be left out because of their strength of schedule or because of their resume. Meanwhile, if Indiana goes and plays in the Big Ten championship, what if they get dog-walked by Oregon? Are we now going to say that they don't belong in the CFP, but Notre Dame that doesn't play a conference championship is automatically a qualifier? It's just there's no contingency, and that's not a fault against, I think, anybody besides the College Football Playoff Committee that doesn't know what it's doing every single week.
We will circle back to some of those teams in the Big Ten that are currently slated in the latest college football playoff bracket. Cole Thompson is our guest from SEC Unfiltered on the Garber Auto Mall hotline. And so let's talk a little SEC first, Cole, before we look at the big picture of the playoff right now. I told you this morning when I checked in to make sure you were still available to join today's Helmets and Heels program.
I've been waiting for this all day.
We had something special for you. So the Heeligans, the listeners, they already know. We're going to do a little bit later in the program. We're going to set the table. You may be familiar with our friends at Split Zone Duo. They do an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert for the upcoming slate. So they pick one game that's the appetizer, one that's the entree, one that's the dessert. We're kicking it up a notch in honor of the Thanksgiving holiday. It's a Thanksgiving feast, Cole. When you look at the SEC schedule this weekend, who's the turkey, who's the mashed potatoes, who's the green bean casserole? I will allow you to take it from here.
Okay, well, we all know who's going to be the mashed potatoes. I think everyone knows what direction I'm going with mashed potatoes. Naturally, it would be far-fetched if I picked anybody else because mashed potatoes. That's the mashed potatoes. It is the best game that people are not going to be paying enough attention to because of all the other games that are going on throughout the SEC this weekend. I love this matchup because if you're finally seeing the version of Florida that I think many fans envisioned at the start of the year, and let's just call a spade, guys. If you would have told me in week one, hey, Billy Napier is going to finish this season 7-5 with this schedule, and they're going to beat Florida State, not knowing that Florida State was going to be bad, UCF, not knowing that they were going to be bad, and pull off two upsets against LSU and Ole Miss, people would be lining up and getting ready to sign him a brand new contract. But I think this is a game that Ole Miss is going to control. However, much like when you mix in the butter and you mix in the chives and you put a little bit of that Cajun spice in there, anything can give this thing a little bit of a kick that makes this a four-quarter battle. I think that when you go to your next game, the green bean casserole, easily that has got to be Texas versus Kentucky because green bean casserole, if it's done right, if you make sure that you put those French crispy onions on the top and you just let it broil over, it's a fantastic meal. But if you let it go ahead and sit on in and then it gets too soggy, it gets out of control, it just becomes a giant mess, there's too much cheese involved in there, you can't indulge in it. And I think that might be the case for this matchup. Again, Texas's offense has been very docile for the last several weeks, and we haven't seen the true version of what this unit can be. But what we have figured out, and the reason why Texas is ranked inside the top 10 and should be in the top 10, their defense is elite by all means. They are playing a physical brand of football to where they're also mature. They don't find themselves making too many mistakes. They're one of the fewest penalized teams in the college football landscape. They have one of the most turnover ratios. They're a top 3 run defense. They're a top 10 total defense. They're number 2 in red zone defense. And they make sure that they win with style points by saying, instead of us getting a big-time touchdown, we're going to allow our offense to milk the clock as much as possible, as evident last week against Arkansas. Let's move on to the turkey. This one's a little bit near and dear to my heart. Got to throw it out there. It's the Alabama Crimson Tide versus the Oklahoma Sooners. Because turkey, as you guys know, if it's not cooked properly, it's a little dry. It can be very, very, very hard to eat. And it always is a meal that you sometimes overlook. Well, what is Alabama going to do next week? They're going to go play against the likes of Auburn in the Iron Bowl, in Kalen DeBoer's first Iron Bowl. You always want to make a good first impression down in the South, Indiana, Taylor. You know this as well as I do. You got to make sure that you win your rivalry in the first matchup. And what happened last year when Hugh Freeze at Auburn was getting ready to play in the Iron Bowl? The legend of Diego Pavia was born at New Mexico State, and they lost that game. So this could be a really good matchup. It's two classic teams that we all know about. It's the Crimson and Cream versus the Crimson and White out of Memorial Stadium in Norman. It's a night game. Things could go haywire, or it could be a really dry performance. I want to throw in sweet potatoes because sweet potatoes, it's a good overall indulgent meal. I think that that's what you get with LSU. They're wearing the yellow uniforms. They got to get the vibes back after what happened yesterday with Bryce Underwood. But Vanderbilt, are those marshmallows on top? It kicks it up just a little bit of a notch, and those marshmallows are headlined by Mr. Baba Yaga himself, Diego Pavia. We are going to see another upset brewing down at Tiger Stadium. Death Valley will be crying itself to sleep because I do believe that Vanderbilt will be getting a win tomorrow night. And last but certainly not least, you got to throw in the dinner rolls. You put a little bit of butter on them. Maybe it'll taste well. If you don't put a little bit of butter on them, it's going to be a problem. That's Mississippi State versus Missouri. And then for your sweet potato pie or your pumpkin pie, the dessert, the last course of the meal that creates so much chaos going into Week 13, but it's a sweet treat. Hugh Freeze finds a way to pull off an upset against Texas A&M, and now the Lone Star Showdown is going to be an elimination game for Texas versus a chance for Texas A&M to go to the college football playoff.
I love it. I do want to ask you, because we are running out of time this segment, Cole, but I do want to ask you about the Indiana-Ohio State game because I feel like this one, everything that I've seen, some people say Ohio State's going to blow out Indiana. Some people say Indiana's going to win outright. Some people say it's going to come down to final seconds of the game. How are you feeling this game goes this weekend?
I actually wondered because you saw the line move with Seth McLaughlin after the torn Achilles injury from 14.5 to 12.5. So they're definitely concerned about the speed of Indiana's front seven going up against a freshman center. And I think that it's going to be a big deal because if the run defense can slow down Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins plus Will Howard, you're going to have to see Howard win through the air. Now, that might be a good thing because of when you look at Indiana's secondary, it's been very hit or miss at times this year, especially against underwhelming quarterback play as in the game against Michigan a few weeks ago. But this is also a game where you guys see Curtis Rourke be able to deliver. You have to be able to see the balance of the rushing attack step on up. The offensive line has been taking a couple of hits over the last few weeks. And it's a big-time matchup because I do believe that we need to start having an argument. And, Taylor, this is where I come back to defending Notre Dame. What has Penn State shown you this year to where they're guaranteed a spot in the college football playoff at 11-1? Their signature moment is not losing by double digits at home in Happy Valley to Ohio State. Indiana, a 12.5-point underdog, has to go on the road to the Shoe for what is going to be senior day for these guys. They want to make a statement, and I believe that they do. I am in that camp that I believe that Kirk Cignetti, the smoke is going to be rising up in Columbus, Ohio. Indiana is going to silence the doubters and the critics. They're going to get a win, and then we get to have a legit conversation. Well, what happens if Indiana continues to drive this way? Are they a legit threat to go win a national championship, or is this just a feel-good story that eventually ends in heartbreak once we get to the postseason? But either way, both these teams I still think are going to the playoffs simply because I don't think Indiana gets blown out.
Both Taylor and I picked Indiana to at the very least cover the spread yesterday, Cole, so this is music to our ears, as is your selection of Auburn and Hugh Freeze somehow, some way, overcoming a 2.5-point spread at the hands of the Aggies. And yes, my lock yesterday for the weekend, Penn State. Minnesota plus 11.5 going to face, or rather hosting Penn State. It's for me it's the lock of the weekend, because if there's one team, and we just did our contenders and pretenders in the NFL, Cole, if there's one team in the current playoff rankings that I would say is a pretender, it is not Indiana. It is not Notre Dame either. It is Penn State.
Can we all just agree that the 12-team college football playoff was built for Penn State to get in every single year, and that people were done complaining about it? Because literally that is the reason why a 12-team playoff was made. They were tired of it being Michigan and Ohio State, and Penn State always finishing in second place.
Yes. Cole, you always grace us with such beauty, such beautiful analogies. Today's program with the Thanksgiving tie-in was built for you. Where can folks find you this weekend on this, the penultimate college football regular season weekend?
Yeah, we're not going to call it penultimate. We're going to call it Prove It Weekend, because if I don't like to think of the end, at Mr. Cole Thompson on Twitter, follow us on YouTube at SEC Unfiltered, follow us at SEC Unfiltered, and check out all of our great work at SECUnfiltered.com. Ladies, as always, it is a pleasure to be on with you. I'm going to go to SEC Unfiltered and order a W, and it's going to be at my house by 9 p.m. tonight, because that's how fast we work.
Yeah, just like Amazon. That's exactly. Thank you, Cole, for joining us on the Garber Automall Hotline. And, of course, he does a lot of fun live podcasts that you can tune into tomorrow, as part of your viewing of, the second to last regular season weekend of college football. Still a whole lot to do. Taylor's Tangent is around the corner right here on a Sunshine Turf Friday on Helmets and Heels.
This hour of Helmets and Heels is brought to you by First Coast Honda dealers.
This crowd is electric.
The difference between stepping up and stepping aside can be as simple as being stepped on.
And he is slow to get up.
Listen for the personal injury attorneys Farah and Farah Injury Update on 1010XL.
Jacksonville.
At Hodges Mazda, they are proud of their solid reputation in the Jacksonville community. Lauren Brooks here as your hometown Mazda dealer. Their high customer service standards and their huge inventory of new and used cars provide their customers a consistently first-rate car buying experience. Their professional non-commissioned sales team puts your best interest first without exception. And all new car purchases include the Hodges Mazda Protection Plan. Visit them online at HodgesMazda.com or stop in today during Mazda's A Season to Move You event and discover the Hodges Mazda difference.
Yo, what's happening, fellas? It's your boy E to the T, and I'm going to keep it real. We could all benefit from a little something extra in the bedroom. Blue Chew can help. Now I'm about to tell you how you can get some for free. Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in a chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. No doctor visits, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew ships right to your door in a discreet package. Not even them nosy neighbors gonna know what's going on. Blue Chew's licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredients and strength for your prescription. And did I mention the chewable? Just like popping a Mentos. And they're made right here in the good old US of A. Now you're asking, how do I get my Blue Chew? Visit BlueChew.com and make sure to enter promo code 1010XL at checkout. Try it for free and just pay $5 shipping. Turn that oh no into a oh yeah. That's right. Use promo code 1010XL and let your boy hook you up with some Blue Chew. Get your confidence back. Visit BlueChew.com.
Start the weekend early and head over to Mossfire Grill for happy hour. Ice cold drafts, margaritas, plus handcrafted bites starting at just $5. $5 during happy hour from 3 to 7 at Mossfire Grill.
See you on the rooftop.
Getting you ready for the game. Pre-game Friday. Built by Dream Finders Homes on 1010XL.
Have you or someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI and all criminal offenses. I've been named the best DUI attorney in the state, and David has been named the best criminal defense lawyer in Jacksonville. In your battle with the justice system, there is only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins. 354-5645.
When you're injured, you probably have more questions than answers, and all you really want is to feel better. This is Joe C., and I certainly can identify. Well, thanks to Rebound Rehab, I bounced back from a serious case of ankle tendonitis to feel pain-free. And they can do the same for you. 8 locations across the First Coast and a team of physical therapists ready to help. From laser and radio pressure wave therapy to aquatic and massage therapy, they can offer real solutions to help you rebound. Log on, reboundrehab.com, and start your path back to pain-free life.
It's a Sunshine Turf Friday.
The highest quality artificial turf at affordable prices.
Visit sunshineturf.info today.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes. November is Veterans Month, and Awaken 180 is honoring all active duty veterans and spouses with 15% off our entire program, plus the same free support for life all clients receive. Celebrate Veterans Month with 50% off at awaken180weightloss.com.
Hey Jacksonville, it's Lauren Brooks from Helmets and Heels. If your car needs an oil change, now's the perfect time to visit Big Chief Tire. They're offering $10 off your next oil change at any of their 5 locations across Jacksonville. Their expert technicians will get you in and out quickly so your car stays in top shape. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule your appointment today. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
Every Friday night in every town in America, communities come together for a time-honored tradition.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists Friday Night Lights.
Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning on 1010XL.
What's good, sports bettors? It's your boy Eats the Tea with my bookie. And what a week it's been already. And if you did what I told you to, you smashed that Joe Mixon same-game parlay on Monday bet with my bookie. Still the best sign-up deposit bonus in the industry for Florida bettors, by the way. So what you waiting for? Let's dig into it. Sunday, the Chiefs travel to Charlotte as an 11-point favorite against the Panthers. I'd be surprised if the Panthers could score here against a top 10 Chiefs defense. I'm thinking Chiefs 27, Panthers 14 to cover the spread. And of course, a massive Sunday night football matchup where the Rams are a 3-point underdog at home against the Eagles. The Eagles are on 10 days of rest, and their defense is sneaky good. So we're looking at taking the under on the 49-point game total. My bookie still has that double deposit bonus that doubles your money on your very first deposit, up to $1,000. So don't forget, sign up using my promo code 1010XL to make yourself some extra cash. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with my bookie. Come on, somebody.
Need protection? Call Craig and Christine Kaprosky at Goosehead Insurance. The Kaproskys are a husband-wife team committed to finding you the right coverage at the right price in just a few short minutes. For home, auto, flood, or specialty insurance, Craig and Christine Kaprosky are the answer. Craig.Kaprosky at Goosehead.com.
Rotator cuff injuries are common among athletes and those who have physically demanding careers. Don't let this injury keep you away from the sport you love. Dr. George Barry here, and the first thing you need to do with a serious shoulder injury is to diagnose where the damage is and how significant it is. Rotator cuff tears are either acute tears sustained during an injury or accident, or degenerative tears. If you're interested in learning more about rotator cuff repair and how our expert team of orthopedic surgeons can help you, call Barry Orthopedics today or visit barryorthopedics.com.
Clean air, cool air, both are extremely important. Trust Florida Home AC to deliver on both with their Remy Halo, the next generation of air quality technology. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and breathe clean and cool air.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
This is a redfin herring I'm holding right now, and as you know, he's wobbling. Wobble with me, wobble with me, wobble with me. He isn't able to talk because he is an amphibian. Is he an amphibian? No, he's a fish. I'm sorry, redfin herring. If you've seen SpongeBob, you see a lot of redfin herrings, but you don't see them get caught a lot. Redfin herring. Threadfin herring, not redfin, a threadfin. If you look at the fins, you can see a slight thread coming off right here to explain the significance of thread fins. I just literally made that up.
Celebrating Jameis, celebrating the upcoming Thanksgiving holiday. We will have our Feast Week watch guide for you. What games should you be tuning in for this weekend? But first, something is bugging Taylor Dahl.
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
Let's start, Mia, with giving away some lunch first.
Ooh, yeah.
Lunch on the ladies. Lunch for 2 to Chick-fil-A. Give us a call at 641-1010. Let's say caller number 4, and you can go get pick up some lunch from Chick-fil-A. I want to talk, I've kind of hinted at this towards the beginning of when we were talking about the Browns-Steelers game last night, and George Pickens has been a character. We already knew he was going to be a character during draft process. That's why he dropped. quite frankly, he dropped because people didn't know how good of a locker room guy he could be. There's already been several instances of little things where people are like, this is why some teams avoided George Pickens. He's a really, really good football player. And so those sometimes I think he probably went to the best spot for him, because when you talk about Mike Tomlin and the grasp that he does have on his players, and even when players have some of these issues, Mike Tomlin's one of those coaches that are able to reel them in, at least for their time in Pittsburgh. And then you see guys leave Pittsburgh and go crazy. You can talk about Le'Veon Bell. You can talk about A.J. Brown, all of these guys that when they're there, there are these studs that you don't really hear much from. And then as soon as they leave the Pittsburgh Steelers, things get a little bit crazy. And so I do think it was the best spot for George Pickens to go. But he made a quote last night, obviously, after the loss. And so he said, conditions played a huge, huge part in today's game. I don't really think the Cleveland Browns are a good team at all. The conditions kind of saved them.
You play in the AFC North, my brother in Christ. You're going to play. So long as you play for the Pittsburgh Steelers, you are going to have to play in those conditions.
Yes. And so multiple things. Number one, both teams played in those conditions. That's one of my biggest pet peeves, is when a player's like, oh, it was raining, that affected us. Like, both players played in the rain. Both players played in the snow. You can factor it in if it's like the Miami Dolphins playing in what was last night. Yes, the Miami Dolphins probably would have a little bit of struggles playing in the snow, and that's why I mentioned yesterday too, when we talk about the college football playoff, some of these SEC teams or Southern teams that are going to have to now go play in the snow potentially.
If the current bracket was to be the real bracket?
Yeah, there's 4. Yes, and that had all snowed yesterday. But yes, and then to your other point, you play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, it snows. You play outside. It's not like you're the Detroit Lions where you can be like, yeah, but we play inside in a dome. No, you play outdoors in Pittsburgh, and you're talking about this. And yes, you play in, to your point, the Ravens. You're going to have to play the Ravens outside. You're going to have to play the Browns outside. You're going to have to play at home by yourself at your own stadium outside, and the Bengals. So what are we complaining? Is this going to be every game? Anytime it snows against one of your division rivals, we're going to talk about how the conditions affected it. And there was one clip that went viral of him where he was just kind of stopped running his route mid, like he's getting chased down. And that's what maybe some people were like, well, Russell Wilson and Justin Fields throw very different balls, and this ball was coming from Justin Fields. So Justin Fields' placement's different than Russell Wilson, and maybe that's why he did it. But then he's fighting fans after the game too. This is exactly why some organizations avoided George Pickens.
And it's year 3.
Yeah.
We thought it would have calmed down by now. It is not. One segment to go here on a Sunshine Turf Friday. We're going to tell you what to watch, Thanksgiving edition. You are listening to 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Helmets and heels.
This hour is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers.
Do the Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle.
Garber Auto Mall is home of the lifetime warranty. Every new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Chevy, Buick, GMC, and Ford comes with a lifetime warranty. At Garber Auto Mall, your purchase is covered for life. Visit us in Green Cove Springs or at GarberAutomall.com. And remember, at Garber Auto Mall, there's always a little room for wiggle.
Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle.
Mia here for Duck Duck Rooter. The holidays are coming, and so is your family. Is your septic system ready? What about that leaky kitchen faucet or that toilet that's been struggling to flush and you keep forgetting to call? Don't let plumbing chaos steal your holiday cheer. Call Duck Duck Rooter today to fix those issues before Aunt Linda and Cousin Earl blame you for ruining Thanksgiving dinner. Call 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com. Duck Duck Rooter is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Arrested? Got traffic tickets? DUI? License problems? Gun charges? Drug charges? If you've been charged with any crime, call me, criminal defense attorney Malcolm Anthony, at 285-4LAW. That's 285-4LAW.
Value or flavor? Price or taste? Why choose when you can get both? With everyday deals at Sunny's. Right now, you can get the pork big deal for $10, the pork and rib combo for $12, and all-you-can-eat ribs for just $19.99. Yep, you heard right. All your favorites are now available all day, every day. And that's why it's always Sunny's here. Sunny's Barbecue. Local pitmasters since '68.
Baloo here for Smoonez Vision. Why Smoonez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smoonez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smoonez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smoonez is fellowship-trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmoonezVision.com today. Here you can see.
Sunshine Turf Friday on Helmets and Heels.
Looking to elevate your game night experience? Look no further than Best Bet. We're not just a card room, we're your destination for excitement, fun, and big wins. Whether you're a seasoned player or new to the game, we have something for everyone. Join us at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, or St. Augustine for thrilling tournaments, exciting promotions, and a vibrant atmosphere that will take your game night to the next level. Elevate your game night at Best Bet. Visit bestbetjacks.com to learn more. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Want a one-stop shop when it comes to commercial or residential construction? Then pick Preferred Builders. They should be high on your list. Over 70 years of construction experience combined with exceptional product and service warranties. They've got a team ready to tackle any size project. In fact, they built their business in Duval by offering superior work at reasonable prices, and reputation over time means something. Honest and knowledgeable, reliable and responsive. Be sure and put Preferred Builders into your game plan for your next construction project. That's Preferred Builders.
Hunters know patience is part of the game.
Just got to keep hunting.
Jeff Lageman, Captain Kevin Faber, and Captain Kirk Waltz on the Nimnicht Outdoors Show. Presented by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. Saturday morning from 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
This season, check out our revamped website at southernsteerbutcher.com. Click on the weekly grilling specials and we'll hit you in the face like a hot route over the middle.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. You hear about guarantees and warranties. What is Underwood's policy?
Frank, to talk about guarantees and warranties, you have to look at our history of over 70 years in business. Underwood's entire reason for existence is and has been to offer fine products that'll be used with such satisfaction that both the giver and the receiver will want to come back. And hopefully they'll tell their friends about us. To do this means we've got to try our hardest to satisfy every customer. All of our people understand that. Now, I'm sure over the years we've made a few mistakes, but we've never failed to make good on any Underwood product that was returned with a legitimate customer complaint. Our entire reputation would mean nothing if we didn't conduct ourselves that way. Simply put, conducting our business with integrity is a lot more important to Underwoods and our customers than all the guarantees, warranties, and contrived legal obligations in the world. And you've got Underwood's word, my word, and all of our people's word on that.
Underwoods in San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra.
How many professional golfers have won the Grand Slam, all four majors, in one calendar year?
With hurricane season now here, the only weather you need to be concerned about is whether your homeowner's insurance policy will cover you in the event of storm damage. Ask about Southern Oak Insurance today.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The only golfer to win golf's Grand Slam in one calendar year was Bobby Jones in 1930.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Slow, and I want to talk to you today about having a grateful spirit. As we journey in life, it's so easy to take things for granted. But I want to encourage you to never get tired of thanking God for your blessings. Take time also to thank the people in your life who have and are helping you to become the person you are today. Don't go through life complaining. Go through life praising.
To hear more inspirational messages by Reverend Dr. Nicholas Lowe, please visit our website at stjohnthedivine.com.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
It would seem that it's only a matter of when, not if, the Jaguars make changes. And when change does come, who will be involved? Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated on Jaguars GM Trent Baalke.
I mean, if Trent Baalke is not part of this, and I've heard the same rumblings that everybody else has that he could survive this, I mean, God help that franchise. Over the last, I think it's 6 seasons as a general manager, he's 30-64. He's made the playoffs once. He survived the 2 firings, survived the Caldwell-Doug Marrone firing, then somehow survived the Urban Meyer year. Again, like, I would lose a lot of faith in the Cons if Trent Baalke somehow survives this and Doug Peterson doesn't.
Albert Breer from Sports Illustrated. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale Lighting, Fans, and Home Decor on 1010XL.
It's not often that you get another opportunity like you have just received in the NFL. What does it mean to lead these guys, and what could be the start of what you said is something special moving forward?
Man, it's a white boy from Detroit that I really admire named Eminem. He said, you only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity lasts once in a lifetime. And I know I got a quote, Eminem, he from Detroit, he right up the road, but man, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful that the Lord provided me with this opportunity. I'm grateful for my teammates, my coaches, and these amazing fans.
Unbelievable performance today. Congratulations, Jameis.
We are grateful.
What a treasure.
For you, Jameis. We are also grateful that Thanksgiving is on the horizon. Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders, we're with you for one more segment here on a Sunshine Turf Friday of Helmets and Heels. We're celebrating Jameis Winston. We are celebrating the upcoming holiday. And so for a what to watch for this weekend across the entire wide world of sports, a little snake draft action here on Helmets and Heels. Taylor Dahl has mapped out 6 Thanksgiving goodies. If you have additional ones, you can leave them on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, 641-1010, or the MyBookie Digital Studio with which game fulfills the definition of each Thanksgiving delicacy. You can pick a game from the NFL, college football, the NBA, college basketball, whatever it may be. Taylor, start us off with the turkey. What are you watching this weekend?
Yeah, we'll do a little turkey ham combo because I know some people are pro turkey and some are pro ham. I personally am a turkey fan. And I kind of joke to you and RJ too, I don't start really watching basketball until around February personally. So mine is going to be a lot of football and maybe sneak a little something else in. But we mentioned this earlier, and I think my turkey is going to be the 49ers at Packers. I think that for both teams, this kind of it shows where the 49ers can and are they contenders, are they pretenders? And same for the Packers, honestly. And the Packers are right there. They're in third right now in the NFC North behind the Lions and Vikings. And so it's a tight race between those teams right now. So just kind of an indication of where each team is and if they are that contender or that pretender.
As our friend Cole Thompson defined mashed potatoes as a surprising dish that you don't expect much of. They look very blah. But then you dig into the mashed potatoes, and it surprises you. I'm going to give you a mashed potato and a sweet potato, both from the men's college basketball ranks. Again, the reason we're doing this, the idea, the genesis, Feast Week is ongoing right now on the ESPN networks. We've got college basketball around the clock. We had a buzzer beater last night in double overtime. Baylor doesn't cover that 2.5-point spread that I needed them to cover. However, it was an epic finish against Rick Pitino's St. John's squad that proved they are a top 25 team. So is Baylor. They get Tennessee tonight at 9:30 on CBS Sports Net. And that, my friends, that's just the mashed potatoes. The sweet potato, you get Duke, Arizona at 10:30 tonight. And that, of course, is not part of the tournaments that are going on in Charleston and St. Thomas and the Bahamas. That is at the McHale Center in Tucson, Arizona. It's the second half of a home-and-home between Duke and Arizona. So if you're looking for a little college basketball action tonight, those
double potatoes.
That's double potatoes, 4 top 25 teams. Well said, Taylor Dahl. RJ, you have the stuffing. What's our stuffing on the menu this weekend?
Stuffing, dressing. There's only one right way to say it. It's called dressing. But I have Lakers Nuggets for you over the weekend. Any Los Angeles Lakers fan is probably still seething in pain that Contavious Caldwell-Pope has said, the Lakers should have beat us. We were tired, probably a little bit unmotivated. On their way to going to, I believe that was the second round of the NBA playoffs last year. The Lakers were up a couple of games during the first half and would ultimately lose in the second half. So this is a chance for the Lakers to get their quote-unquote get back. And I understand there have been a lot of individuals on Lakers Twitter that are that are ready for this game. So the dressing for you on your plate is Lakers Nuggets.
Oh, what about green bean casserole, RJ? As we do this as a snake draft, you'll have a second pick here. Who's your green bean casserole?
The green bean casserole for me is kind of like, who brought that? And that's going to be...
It's low on your power rankings. That's what green bean casserole. So this is
I love green bean casserole.
So this is a game that you're not that excited for. You're kind of like, it has to be here, but I don't really want it.
It's not even like it has to be here. Again, it's who brought it. So Rockets Blazers. I enjoy the Houston Rockets. I enjoy their style of basketball, but you are going up against the Blazers. I'll look at the Thanksgiving dinner table, and there's only one guy that I'm really trying to watch, and that is Robert Williams. Knock on wood. He is the center that the Lakers trade for in the middle of the year to help our chances in the NBA Finals. So why is it here? I don't know, but I'll look at it because I'm interested in Robert Williams.
I love it. I have the dinner rolls in this snake draft. And so the dinner rolls, they don't really have to be there. I feel like, does anybody need dinner rolls at their Thanksgiving?
I personally am a bread girl.
Okay.
But I also I
double
love
potatoes wasn't enough?
No. Well, I'm not a sweet potato fan, though. So
Okay.
I just do the normal potatoes. But I am a roll bread girl. I could live life without ever eating another sweet treat. But if you take away bread, I would pass away.
So because I want to save the college football slate as the pie for you, Taylor Doll.
Okay.
And because the dinner rolls for me, they're just kind of there. Doug Peterson, I know, is someone who will be locked in this weekend on this, so he must be a dinner roll guy.
I love it.
That's the RSM Classic going on locally here in St. Simons up in Sea Isle. Right now, through one round, Maverick McNeely and Patrick Fishburne are tied for the lead. And so if you do need to sprinkle in a little something different, a dinner roll if you may, a little golf action and support our friends up in Southeast Georgia.
I love it. So I've got the dessert, and I'm going to give two for this because I'll give a pie dessert, and then maybe
Well, you can do
we
a
like the
pumpkin and
pumpkin
apple,
pie,
yeah.
and I personally like chocolate pie. But if you're an apple pie fan, we'll do two different pies. So my first one, I think obviously a little sweet treat for everybody. I want to say Indiana at Ohio State. We talked to Cole about this, and there's just so much back and forth of what this game could possibly look like. But I think it is. When you're talking about the college football race right now and what that final playoff ranking could look like in a few weeks, this game is a big part of what that college football that final playoff ranking will look like. And I also think that for people that may not, which the majority of the world, I think that if you're not an Ohio State fan, you hate Ohio State. That's just kind of like what runs along with it. So give a little sweetness if that Indiana ends up upsetting. But either way, I do think it'll be a really fun game to watch. And I also am going to go into the hockey world a little bit and add that if you put the ice cream on top of the pumpkin pie, add the little icy flavor at the end, some cold. And the Caps at Panthers play Monday night, and both are playing really good hockey right now. Obviously, Panthers coming off a Stanley Cup. The Capitals got upset in the first round last in this playoff against the Rangers, and so they are definitely wanting to battle back this year. But Ovechkin, if you're wondering, is still playing. He's 39 years old. He is tied for first in goals with Florida's Sam Reinhart. So you have the two goal scorer leaders in the NHL playing Monday night as the Caps face the Panthers in Florida.
We appreciate those of you submitting your requests and your what to watch for on the Thanksgiving Feast Week table. Robert on the MyBookie Digital Studio says the pecan pie, Georgia versus Marquette on the hardwood. I like that. Hey, let's keep them coming on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures as well. 641-1010, the number to reach us at. But to recap, the turkey, the center, the main attraction, 49ers Packers. A double dose of potatoes this weekend. Baylor, Tennessee, Duke, Arizona, two top 25 showdowns this evening on the hardwood. RJ giving us a stuffing, the dressing, as he said, it's properly called. Lakers, Nuggets, the green bean casserole that's there and he'll just maybe look at. Rockets, Blazers. Our good friend David Wolf would say otherwise. Come on now. Houston's been feisty, RJ. The dinner rolls because they're there, and if you're going to be there in passing, you're going to watch it. That's the RSM Classic. Shout out to our friends up in St. Simons. Taylor Dahl with the pumpkin pie, which I would argue next to the turkey and the ham is probably the main attraction at our Thanksgiving feast. Indiana, Ohio State, and the ice cream on top. The Washington Capitals at the Florida Panthers. Now that I'm hungry, let's cool down.
Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
I did want to look through some of these because as we were listing our feast of games this weekend, I keep looking up at the screen, and Pat McAfee is wearing like no sleeves out at the Ohio State Stadium right now, and his arms are so red that you can just tell he's absolutely freezing. But I'm like, someone get this man some sleeves. But when you look at the rest of the NFL this weekend, and maybe casual fan would look at these and be like, okay, some of these sound very, very boring. But when you look a little closer and you look at, for example, the Texans and Titans, we keep talking about, we talked earlier, Texans, are they contenders? Are they pretenders? A game like this, I think, really starts to indicate, because this is what happened to the Jags last season, is you just couldn't beat some of these teams you should have beat at the end of the season. So that game, honestly, for the Texans is really important. When you go to a game like the Patriots-Dolphins. The Patriots are not a really good football team right now. Dolphins are trying to find their way back into it. So you'd hope that they'd be able to find some light. The Patriots have been more fun with Drake May. So if you haven't been able to see the Drake May Patriots, then maybe this is an opportunity to see something like that. And then you go through and you look at some of these, like the Lions-Colts. The Lions, obviously, one of the best football teams in the league right now. The Colts, we are still trying to figure out exactly where they are. I've heard people say that they are better than even what their record shows. I've seen other people be like, no, there's no way. We just saw what the Lions did to the Jags, so how do the Colts kind of fare in a game like this? But the Eagles-Rams, I feel like it's so interesting
Sneaky
to
good Sunday night football game.
Yes, I am honestly pretty excited about the Eagles-Rams game, because both of those, the Rams have been on this climb recently of, after getting Puka Nacua and after getting Cooper Kupp back, of kind of finding themselves again. And the Eagles, we've been able to see them have this climb throughout the season too. So I think this game is going to be really fun. I think we're going to see a lot of scoring in this game, just because it's kind of been what each team has done. And even though the Eagles defense is really good, I think the Rams do have so many pieces. But there are a lot of fun NFL games this weekend to pay attention to also. And then some a little bit easier ones, I guess. You could even say Cardinals Seahawks, because that division is so
it's so up in the air.
Yeah.
It's a pivot point this weekend for certain. I do want to give a shout out to our friends on the high school gridiron.
Yes.
A lot of great games going on tonight. Oakleaf at Nice, that is an absolute battle of the Titans. Ponte Vedra, Fleming Island, Ed White at St. Augustine, another inter-area game that's going to be going on. The Graveyard, of course, will be popping with Wakulla coming to town. Bishop Kenny traveling to Tallahassee. Godby. Bowles hosting Walton. Bradford hosting Newberry. Providence and UC in another inter-Jacksonville area matchup. Trinity Christian hosting Maclay as well. Fort White, Union County also in action in the rural division. Hopefully I didn't miss any of you. And shout out to the 3 teams that I know are still vying in the Georgia high school football playoffs as well. Ware County, Pierce County, and I believe it is, who's the third one? I'm blanking on the third one. Anyways, good luck to every high school team this weekend. We are out of time. Our thanks to our friend Cole Thompson of SEC Unfiltered for joining us. Our thanks to you, the Heeligans, for having some fun on this Jameis Winston appreciation Thanksgiving feast week, Sunshine Turf Friday. We are done. We will see you on Monday, Knuckleheads. Until then, we will catch you later.
Yeah.